Welcome to solving linear equations with fractions. So I like to call this fraction fun time. Pretty much, we are going to do the same steps for solving linear equations. Those, let's quickly remind ourselves, are to simplify as much as possible. And generally, this first step is critical for us when we're working with fractions. The next step is to make sure we have one variable on that one that we want to solve for on one side. And last but not least, we will do the two properties. We'll do the addition principle and then the multiplication principle. Okay, and that basically says what I do to one side of the equation, I better make sure I do the same thing to the other side while I get that variable by itself. So that's what we're doing. Keep this in mind, okay, while we are doing our solving linear equations with fractions. So our directions are going to be the vague solve, which implies solve for whatever one variable we have. And our first one, let's start out nice, guys. Let's not be mean to ourselves. Let's say we have 2x over 3 plus x over 2 equals 7. So we have fractions, and you can work with them if you really love fractions. Generally, the large population of students that I work with despise fractions. So we're going to get rid of them. And how we get rid of it is by multiplying by the least common denominator. Least common denominator. How do you find the least common denominator? Well, you look at the bottoms, okay, the denominators. Technically, this guy is over 1. That's nice. And we find a common multiple between the two. The easiest method for most students is just to multiply the two numbers together, and especially if they're prime numbers. So we got 2 times 3, which is 6, and that happens to be our least common denominator. If you do not want to spend a lot of time, you can always find a common denominator by multiplying them together. Sometimes you get lucky and it's the least, sometimes it's not, but that's always a fail-safe kind of way to go through these. So once you found this, you're going, gee, that took me a while. Not too bad, okay? We are going to multiply the entire equation by this LCD. So I like to rewrite my problem, especially if this is my first rodeo with it. And I leave a lot of space here. This is not me just writing obnoxiously large. And I say everyone gets multiplied by 6. So you get a 6. You get a 6. You get a 6. Everything gets multiplied by 6, my LCD. What that's going to do for us is that we are going to focus in on the fraction parts, and they are going to go away, and we won't have any fractions. Now, you might be going, there's no fraction over here. Why did you multiply by 6? Well, I got to keep my equation balanced. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So everything, every term gets multiplied by that LCD to keep it balanced, fraction or not. And you'll see here 6 can be divided by 3, nice and even. That's really 2. And it's still being multiplied by that 2x who's hanging out in the numerator. Now the fraction's gone because 6 divided by 3 is 2. That's where that guy came from. So I have no fraction. Same story over here. I have 6 being divided by that 2, which is 3. That x is still up top. Nothing has changed there. And if you want to make life simple, 6 times 7 is 42. Yeah, okay. And now we just kind of go along our merry way, keep simplifying, because now there's no fractions. And we got 2 times 2, which is beautiful. 3 times 1. And we got like terms. We'll go ahead and combine them. 4x plus 3x is 7x. And what a lucky day here, guys. We are going to go ahead and say, wow, we have one variable, so step 2 is taking care of us. There is no addition, so we're just going to go straight to the last step, which is multiplication, and we're going to divide by 7. What we do to one side of the equation, we better make sure that we do, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to have to check my video. And we'll do it to the other side, and we'll swing that over here, and we got x equals 6 for our solution.